10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to BKTV Live. I'm Dale Knight.
And I'm Michael Kopias.
Today we have coverage of the Middle School Fishing Club Veterans Day,
Parks and Recreation, and Earth Mother Health Foods, all coming up on BKTV Live. The FMS Fishing Club had its third meeting on November 8th with Mr. Doty, other FMS teachers, students, and FMS's own principal making it possible.
Caleb Sherman has the story.
Okay, the fishing club, we received a grant from the Department of Natural Resources, Department of Conservation, and to start the fishing club, they provided most of the equipment. Some of the boys bring their own, but they did provide most of the equipment so we could take these fellows fishing.
So it's just a group that goes fishing, and we also do some classroom education stuff as well.
I think it's pretty amazing. We go fishing after school every Tuesday, and it's pretty fun. We hang out for an hour and just go fishing. Caught a lot of fish. It's fun.
It's important just because it gives more opportunity to, maybe some kids who maybe they don't play sports a lot, provide them different opportunities to be involved in the school. So yes, it's very important for that aspect.
We think it's important that the kids develop skills for a lifelong sport. Fishing is something that they can do that's, one, good for the environment, that gives them a good hobby, that gets them at least some exercise and out in front of the screens for a little while, and just the appreciation for conservation. We have a mixed group. We have some that have been fishing for years, and then we have some who have not been fishing very much at all. So it's been a nice mixture. We've got some kiddos who are learning a lot, and some kids who are teaching other kids some fishing techniques, which is really fun to see. Middle school kids helping other middle school kids. But no, there's no requirement that you have to know how to fish. We will teach you. Teach you how to tie a hook, teach you how to bait a hook, teach you the different lures, how to cast, all that.
This is the first year. Mr. Jingerson, the principal at FMS, has we've been talking about it for a couple years, and then we've got a little help from the Missouri Department of Conservation. One of the representatives came and kind of gave us the information, got us going. We usually meet on Tuesdays. This is our third meeting.
Our first meeting was at the middle school, just to kind of get organized and set some expectations for the students. And then the last 2 weeks we went fishing. We're here today, and then last Tuesday we went to Hager Lake over at the industrial park.
Yeah, we try to just pick some local areas. So obviously we're here at Engler. We were at Hager last time, and the guys who kind of not really run the show, but who, Mr. Doty, myself, some other teachers, we just pick different spots in the local area to fish at.
But with the weather coming up, we're probably going to just meet at the middle school and just talk about fishing skills, fishing habitat, fish identification until the weather gets better in the spring so we can go fishing again. Farmington has several places like this where within just a 5-10 minute bus ride, we can have the kids here, let fish for an hour and a half before it gets dark, which is plenty of time to practice fishing, and then back to the bus and back to middle school. So there's pretty convenient locations. In the spring, we may travel further. Once the weather gets better, we may go to big rivers, San Francis River, maybe the Huzaw River. As long as we get transportation and an opportunity to go.
There's not any real strict criteria or anything like that. Got to be a student at FMS. That's about it.
The only requirement that you had to do, you have to sign a permission slip, and that one permission slip is if your parents sign that, you get to go on all the fishing trips that we go to.
And the only other requirement is just good behavior. We don't want to harm the fish any more than catching them, catch and release. So yeah, behavior, protecting the fish, protecting the conservation and wildlife. Yep. And like I said earlier, I think it's important to teach these kids a lifelong hobby, something that they can do in the area for the rest of their lives.
Thank you, Mr. Doty, for helping make fishing more accessible to FMS students. Maybe we should start a fishing club here at the high school.
The Farmington School District partnered with the City of Farmington to hold a breakfast for our veterans at the Civic Center to celebrate and honor our military veterans of the United States Armed Forces.
Richard Skinner takes us for a behind-the-scenes look at the breakfast and how it all comes together. Take it away, Richard.
Hello FHS, my name is Richard Skinner and today we are here in the Civic Center where the Farmington School District, with partnership with the City of Farmington, is having a Veterans Day breakfast in honor of Veterans Day and the veterans that served and protect this country.
Well, it takes months. We start usually a year out with the Civic Center with the city, and we book our date, and then it takes a few months. I work with Harps locally, that used to be Country Mart, Scooters for the coffee, and then my volunteers that help out. We have our wonderful cafeteria ladies that help us get all of the utensils, all of the paper and plasticware, so a few months out. Well, Farmington has a great communications team. They all put it forth effort. We make a form that we send out to parents that they can sign up. The students sign up as well. So we send that out usually about 3 weeks ahead of time, and then they submit the form. They also have my information on the form, so if they forget or if they pass the deadline, then I get lots of calls and emails. So we have a wonderful meal, I feel. We have scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, biscuits that they can either have jelly and butter on or gravy. Our cafeteria provides juice and milk, and then, like I said, Scooters. We get coffee from Scooters.
I guess this is our fourth year for doing the Veterans Day breakfast here at the Civic Center, so we appreciate the city working with us. Obviously, huge turnout today, so it's just a small way for us to say thank you for all of the sacrifices and all of the things that our veterans and their families have given up for our country. So again, it's just a small way for us to say thank you for all of their service. Well, obviously the Civic Center is a great venue. When you have, I think we're going to feed well over 500 families today. So obviously this venue works a little bit better than some of the other spots that we have in the Farmington School District. So we really appreciate the city working with us and allowing us to have the event here each year.
Can you tell me your name and what branch did you serve in?
My name is Patrick Mooney, and I served in the United States Army. Well, I always said that if I served and continued to serve, then my children wouldn't need to serve. So I was serving for my family. After I graduated high school, I was selected to go to West Point. So when I graduated there, I was stationed in Germany, and I was a Patriot missile lieutenant, which you guys were way too young to know anything about that. That's from the first Gulf War. We were the Scud Busters. So when I came off of active duty after the first Gulf War, I joined the Army Reserve. And then I served in the Army Reserve for the next 30 years. And in that time, I also became a signal officer. And finally, in the end, I was a Chief Information Officer, Chief Information Security Officer for the 84th Training Command in Fort Knox, Kentucky, which is sort of like the IT guy and cyber guy for the entire training command of about 6,500 soldiers.
I believe this is a great event, not only from the Farmington School District, but the City of Farmington, as a way to honor the veterans who fought, served, and protect our country and our constitutional rights. Reporting for BKTV News, I'm Richard Skinner.
Now let's move on to Stuff That Matters, our real-world news segment.
Recently, many have heard of the ongoing controversy around the artist formerly known as Kanye West, known as Ye. Recently, Kanye has been chosen to speak out about his views on the Jewish community. Kanye has been quoted on the InfoWars with Alex Jones saying, quote, "I love Hitler," and, quote, "we have to stop insulting Nazis all the time." Kanye also followed these statements by saying he quote, "I love Jewish people and I also love Nazis." Numerous groups have come out and condemned Kanye for saying they called anti-Semitic comments, including congressional leaders, President Joe Biden, and Anti-Discrimination League, and many others.
In some local news, the Farmington School Board announced Tuesday that Dr. Kyle Gibbs will be the 22nd superintendent of the Farmington R7 School District. Dr. Gibbs comes from Crawford County, R1, in Bourbon, Missouri. He has his doctorate in educational administration from Southwest Baptist University. BKTV is excited to get to know Dr. Gibbs and welcome him into our community.
Recently, rail workers in the United States were threatening to strike unless they received pay for sick days.
On Tuesday, the state of Georgia went into a runoff election for the next U.S. senator from that state. Incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock faced off against former football player Herschel Walker. In the state of Georgia, in order to win an election, a candidate must reach a greater than 50% vote. With 51.4%, Georgians voted to keep Senator Warnock as their representative in the U.S. state.
In breaking news this morning, Brittany Griner, a professional basketball player who was arrested under suspect of false pretense in Russia, was freed last night. The United States did a one-for-one prisoner swap with Russia and freed Griner. President Biden met with Griner's mother and announced that she was on the plane and safe.
This year, a petition with the city of Farmington was filed that many people might not have previously known existed.
Jace Dennison and myself bring us an inside account on the new Park and Rec Director.
6 months ago, Doug Stotler decided to venture out from his lifelong career in college sports in order to pursue the open position of Farmington Parks and Rec Director.
Jace, I'm the new kid on the block. I started here on May the 2nd, 2022, and just a few days ago, finished up my first 6 months. You know, this is one aspect of Parks and Rec that is under my purview. So supervising all of our personnel that take care of grounds. So, you know, you've got mowing, you know, we take care of the parking lots. We take care of the lake that's across the way. Giesing Lake here is just a short walk. Well, and that doesn't even get into the things at the Civic Center, where you have Centene, which is the auditorium that includes, you know, the lobby where lots of meetings are held. So we coordinate and organize all those. Then you've got the gymnasium in the Civic Center, the fitness facility, the dance room, the multi-purpose room, the locker rooms. Then you move on down the block at the Civic Center into the water park. Well, and I skipped the indoor pool. So we've got an indoor pool that requires a lot of individual help from people like lifeguards and maintenance. And then the water park, that's an enormous staffing project throughout the summer. And it's a lot of work with a lot of coordination by some really fantastic people within the city of Farmington. But again, there is some carryover that has helped. But I tell you what, Jace, I learn something new every day here in Parks and Rec.
We were curious to know what the strangest part of his job is.
You know, I don't know if it's odd or not, but we interviewed some candidates to play Santa Claus. Oh, nice. Which was kind of fun because we looked at the candidates and said, well, give us your best ho-ho-ho, and we'll determine if that's good enough. So that's one of the things. But, you know, completely opposite of that is we just had a whole bunch of trout dumped into Giesing Lake for the trout fishing for the year. So, you know, those are two things on the opposite end of the spectrum. We just finished up hay rides. We've got basketball leagues going on. We just finished up soccer leagues. It's just an amazing array of activities that we have, and that's probably the most unique thing about it. Everything from Santa Claus to fishing. You know, it's just any number of things. There's not one particular job that I think, you know, really comprises what we do in a nutshell, but it's a rather large grouping of activities and responsibilities that range from the actual ground and facilities to managing the people that help us do all those things.
We made sure to ask about Stotler's plans to improve the parks in the future.
You know, I think there's been a long-range plan to look at things like a greenway, which would provide a transportation method for people that live in town to come out this way. So that's a project that we're looking at. We're always looking at trying to bring as many new activities as we can. But I think the ongoing plan is to, you know, just increase usage of our current parks, increase usage of the Civic Center, the water park, and you know, those are all promotion and marketing efforts that we're going to be involved in.
Thanks to all the great people that help us enjoy our beautiful parks and Civic Center here in Farmington. We encourage you to check them out and keep them clean. Signing off for BKTV, this has been Jace Dennison.
And Sam Knight. Looking forward to these future projects and improvements for the park. Thanks, Jace and myself.
Hey Sam, have you heard of Earth Mother Health Foods?
No, what is it?
Well, Earth Mother Health Foods is the largest health food store in southeastern Missouri.
Wow, really? In this town, you say?
Indeed it is. Nate Ballou, Mark Southern, and Caden Foster have the coverage over Earth Mother Health Foods.
Earth Mother Health Foods is the largest and oldest health store in southeastern Missouri. It has been a staple in Farmington for over 32 years and has been owned by Ms. Visnosky for 25. They sell over 300 bulk medicinal items and culinary herbs.
I have been here 32 years, but somebody had worked on me for several years before I gave in. I was a tour guide in St. Genevieve because I live in St. Genevieve County for years, and I loved that job. And I would come over to this little bitty health food store in Farmington. I'd come over here and buy stuff from her, and every time I'd come over, after a while when she became acquainted with me and realized I knew so much about health foods and the herbs and all that stuff, and every time I would come over here, she would say, "You need to buy this." I'd say, no, I don't. I got a job in St. Genevieve. I just love doing tours. And I'd tell her all that stuff, you know. Well, every time I'd come, every time. But the last time I came in, she said something that turned it around. She said, "You know what? You know all this stuff. You could help a lot of people if you were to buy this store." And that got me. That was what triggered me into buying it, and I bought it in 1990, and I've been here 32 years. The people weren't real friendly to me. They were like I was from somewhere else, and it was kind of hard. It was like I wasn't one of them, and that was hard, that first couple, 2 or 3 years. It takes a big, pretty good-sized town and a lot of people to make one of these things go, because a lot of people don't know about health food. You kind of have to get educated to know what you're doing. These people in here, it's unreal what they know. Almost everyone, I would say every one of my employees knows a section of this store that I don't know as well as they do, because it's all kind of divided up in sections, each one that have made themselves very knowledgeable on what these herbs are and how they help. Now, we can't prescribe, but we can tell you how it helped our children, our grandchildren, or others, you know, or yourself. You can always talk about yourself, but we can't prescribe because we're not doctors or nurses. I always wanted to do something where we could respect our first Native Americans, because let me tell you, folks, they didn't hurt the earth at all, and we've sure messed it up in the years we've been here. But anyway, if people want to come in and visit it, people love it. I love people come here. They can come in here and get one of our books that's on the shelf, read it. I had a man in here the other day for 2 hours and reading, and I want it to be a place where you can pay respect to the first Native Americans, and a place that feels comfortable. You always have some people that are trying to sell the same thing you are. But here, the difference, what makes me different from them, everything that comes through this store has to be approved by the National Products Association. Every single thing. Words are cheap. You can put anything on a label. You know what I mean? Pretty much, if you put 1 drop of it in there, you can say it's got so-and-so in it. But here, everything is third-party tested. Everything in this store is third-party tested. They know they're getting the best natural stuff they can get. Probably try to get acquainted with the area a little better, you know, to where you don't feel like you're from somewhere else. I see it continue to grow, because it continues to grow. It was unbelievable what we did during those 2 years, the worst of that pandemic, because we helped so many people and the word got out. And this thing can't do anything else but grow.
Wow, it's so interesting to know that such a story in a business located right here in this town. Thanks, guys.
Well, that's all we have for this episode, but be sure to tune in next time on
BKTV Live.